Welcome to another episode of The Pineapple Perspective. I'm your host, Troy Hooper. These are always sponsored by Pepper Lunch Restaurants, pepperlunchrestaurants.com. Check out our franchising portal if you're a multi-unit franchise operator looking to diversify your portfolio. That's the last commercial of the show. Today, I'm joined by an industry veteran, as we tend to do, have pretty exceptional, experienced folks on the show. A gentleman I don't know well, that you'll hear me say that twice in a row now because I've talked to all my friends, I guess. So I'm making new friends. And David Youngberg, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So David, you're a restaurant brand CEO. We're going to get into your history in a minute, but we always start the show off by asking our guests the very first question right off the bat. What does hospitality mean to you?
The Danny Meyer quote took on to me years and years ago, the first time I read Setting the Table. And it was learning the difference between service and hospitality. Service is what you do for somebody. Hospitality is how you make them feel. And I think that being a people person, I have always lived by that of like, how do we get guests into our restaurants and give them something extra, right? A surprise and delight, a thank you, a clearing of a plate, just a gesture that makes them feel good about their experience. And so it's hospitality is how you make people feel in the moment.
That's awesome. Give me a experience as a kid, teenager, young man coming into this industry. Give me an example of a time that you experienced unreasonable hospitality as the protege of Danny Meyer, Will Godaro would say.
We didn't go out to eat a lot when I was a kid. There wasn't, there wasn't a lot of time to do it and a lot of money to do it, right? So going out to eat was something that was incredibly special. I grew up in a town called Covina in Southern California, and there was a small restaurant there called La Fiesta. I think it eventually became part of the El Torito brand, but it was just a really nice Mexican restaurant. We loved going there, big fountain in the middle and just fun place. As kids, it was great, right? Because you can kind of walk around. But there, it was pretty much family run at the time. And I wish I could remember his name, but the server, when I'm 8, 9, 12 years old, he's got to be in his 30s or 40s. But he knew my parents by name. He learned my sister and my name and he would walk by me and like slip a piece of candy into like my hand. He would touch me from the back and but it was little things like that. Every single time we visited, he would just make it cool and special. And I think that as I grew up and became part of the business, working at McDonald's and then casual dining restaurants, I always remembered that little perspective of doing something more. And that it's just something I always carried with me.
Yeah, I love that. We've had the similar experience. We had a family Mexican restaurant down the road from us in Santa Clarita for many years, and besides the fact that they had the best margaritas on the planet, I'll fight anybody on that. The food was the food. It's kind of all the same. I couldn't say it was remarkable, but man, it was that experience. And even though it took them time to sort of start to recognize us, although we started going a lot, so I think it didn't take too long. I actually appreciated exactly that scenario. There was those 2 or 3 servers there that had been there 30 plus years, right? And they were talking to every table like it was their best friend, right? And I won't even say family. I would say beyond family. Like they just exuded this energy of welcome and appreciation and joy and like this is an occasion, this is an experience. You came here, we're gonna have fun together. And man, just love that place. Packed, obviously a line out the door. Couldn't get in on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night to save your life, but amazing little corner mini strip mall spot. And by the way, I've been to La Fiesta with the fountain in the middle. It's they have a couple of them. There's one in San Diego, I think the original maybe, but I get to go there when I'm down in town. Love that place. Um, David, let's give the folks listening and maybe watching on YouTube a little sense of who you are and where you come from. Tell us that 90-second bio. Who's David and where's he been and what's he done?
Well, spent my life in the business. First job, 15 and a half at McDonald's, flipping burgers, and didn't really realize it until later on in life how important that was of learning systems. And they were great at systems then. And I think it taught me that. And I loved it. And after working in a couple of different brands in high school and college and seeing the difference between a place that had great systems and a place that didn't, it made all the difference in the world of how the restaurant operated. But really went to college to do something different with my life, public administration, but worked in casual dining throughout. And when I graduated college, the restaurant company that I was working for offered me a management position, and then I was also offered a job in my field, and I chose to stay in the restaurant business, and I never looked back. So, but I, worked with a really great private group early on. They were the creators of Joe's Crab Shack, and they were very entrepreneurial and inventive and innovative and just had some cool concepts and really enjoyed that. But then, jumped into working at BJ's Restaurants just before 2000 and, came on board when it was really in its early years with the two founders, Paul Matenko and Jerry Hennessy, and watched them kind of cultivate the brand. And from there, it was just, I guess 22 plus years of just watching growth and learning, right? Making mistakes and fixing them and then getting better and then finding the right things to do. And, it's just been, it's been a great ride since been coming on board with Stonefire. I saw in Stonefire what I saw in BJ's at early on. And it seemed like same place. I'd been a fan of Stonefire Grill. I'd gone to friend literally 3 days before getting the call about the job. I was at a friend's house and he was having a 50th birthday party for his wife, and it was catered by Stonefire Grill. And I think a couple weeks before that, we had catered Stonefire Grill at our offices. So I just had this familiarity with them and then get the call. And it was like a dream come true because I love this brand. I love the roots that it came from. I love the happy to serve atmosphere, and I'm just really, I pinch myself every day that I'm here having the opportunity to grow this brand.
That's a great story, and I'm familiar with those brands as I'm also in Southern California. And for those of you that are not in Southern California, these are iconic brands in Southern California, by the way. BJ's, you got there in 2000 or so. It was around 20 stores. It's now well over 100 stores. Not that that's lighting the world on fire growth. That's consistent expansion over the years. And by the way, BJ's restaurants, what, 30,000 square foot restaurants? I mean, large format, a lot of standalone pad brick and mortars. The one here in Ventura, where I'm near, is a big pad standalone building. And the one in Santa Cruz that I enjoyed was at the end, or an end cap or equivalent of a pad, but at the end cap of a very busy plaza. So we know BJ's really well here in SoCal. And Stonefire, the same way. We were chatting before we started recording. I lived in Santa Cruz, California for about 7 years. Really love that place and consider it a home. And you literally, you couldn't go to an event. Like you couldn't go to somebody's house for anything. Football, birthday party, nonprofit, political fundraiser. It was Stonefire. And quite honestly, anytime I thought about catering more than 3 people, the easy answer was Stonefire, right? And the system was just built to accommodate it. The choice and the ease of ordering and the ease of selection and the fast and the speed. I'll give you a quick story to kind of off topic. My management company, we were running a golf club, and a car took out at the corner of where the golf club was on a Saturday afternoon. A car took out a electrical junction box, a main junction box. Took out the power. Took out the power to, I don't know, 30,000 people. Pretty large swath of town went dark. They said it was going to be a 14 to 16 hour fix. First Saturday ever that I wasn't at the club for a wedding. I always took weddings very seriously. I always made sure I showed up if there was a wedding to make sure it was all straight. We had a wedding go dark about 20 minutes before the reception was scheduled to start. They were on their way from the church to the venue to have their reception, and the venue was dark. And literally they couldn't cook anything and couldn't do anything. And so that team, I'm so proud of them. That team jumped into action, and one of the people said to me, "We can call Stonefire. I know the manager at Stonefire." And in about an hour, hour and a half, they had catering for 150 people back at the church. Everybody turned around, all the staff, everybody drove over to the church. They started setting up tables and literally turned the church into a reception venue. And Stonefire catered, 150 people in under 2 hours. No,
Wow. So
so
that's an awesome
yeah,
story.
what a great story. Now this is before you, so I can't give you credit, but a great organization and
Wen's Restaurant is our oldest restaurant. It turned 25 years old. We're actually celebrating our 25th anniversary right now because of the opening of Stonefire Valencia, and it was, it's been a staple in the community, and I love the guests up there. They are the most vocal. They tell us what they like, what they don't like. It really helps us out, and we've had some, we've had just some amazing things, and we can, like, kind of the tagline, we can serve 40 to 4,000. We do a huge, I think we served 6,500 people recently up in at Grace Church, and we served 6,500 people in 45 minutes and served them a full buffet lunch. So the team here definitely knows how to cater. We know how to get packages ready for takeout. And again, we've got great dining rooms if you want to come in and eat dinner or lunch or whatever.
All right. Well, we'll wrap up the show with a little infomercial on what is Stonefire, what's your food, why should people find it, where should they find it, all that. We like to wrap the show with your with a little commercial about your brand. Let's get in the meat and potatoes, David. We like to talk on this show about what's going on in the industry, what area of expertise or what leadership role can you impart upon us? Because there's a lot of emerging brand founders and operators listening, a lot of management team looking to grow in the hospitality industry. We have a lot of contemporaries like yourself and I who listen to the show really to hear from each other and get ideas. So just to sort of set the table there, let's talk a little bit about your thoughts around hospitality in your restaurants. How you come from BJ's, you show up at Stonefire, you take over, you acknowledge the history and you give homage to what they've done, but when you look at a business like this, when you join it, what hospitality and leadership are you bringing to the table that sort of gives it an opportunity for growth?
Well, I think number one, I'm a servant leader. So I think servant leadership is incredibly important when you're talking about a small brand, 13 restaurants, right? Like, you have to know the ins and outs of everything. So you have to be involved. As a CEO, I'm involved. I don't sit in an office all day. I'm involved in the day-to-day operations. I'm in restaurants every day. I'm interacting with our team members. I'm interacting with our guests, our managers, looking at the food processes, making sure that, and I'm an operator by heart. So it's really hard to break me away from wanting to be in the restaurants and make sure things are happening. So I think that's the first piece. To me, the two biggest pieces of kind of working the brand is number one is being people first. And we in 2023 we took on and wanted to become an employer of choice. We wanted that moniker and said, how do we become an employer of choice? And that is in attracting the right talent, is showing a career path, in having the right training systems, and just doing everything for our team. But it earmarked putting people first. And it was getting the teams to realize that we can't do any of this, and getting my leadership team to realize we can't do anything without people. Just simply, it doesn't work. We can't fix labor. We can't fix food costs. We can't fix guest scores, Yelp scores, anything like that unless we have the right people that want to be there. It's like putting the right people in the right seats on the bus so that you can drive it forward. And so it really became that, coming in and setting at Stonefire, we have our mission, vision, and values, and looking at that and saying, okay, well, is it fresh? Is it relevant? Does it lean into where we are in 2023 or 24 and 25? And we said, no, they were old. So let's rewrite them so that they're relevant to our team, so that it's something that they can grab onto. Our promise has never changed. Our promise is we are happy to serve. It's on the front of our t-shirts with every single team member when you walk through the doors, and it's something that they wear on them. And they have their culture cards as well, so that they know they can read the mission, vision, and values and kind of look and see and understand exactly what's expected of them day in, day out. And it's really making sure that we're taking care of our guests. And I think that was, probably the biggest piece to get into place. When I came on board, we did town halls. We took the leadership team and went to every single restaurant and sat with the team members and the managers. And it was, keep your mouth shut and just listen. We're not going to comment. We're not going to reply to anything. We're just simply listening. We wrote everything down, and then we looked at everything, evaluated everything, and we said, okay, now what are we going to do with all this information? And everything that we brought out of our town halls became our 2024 strategic initiatives. And a lot of it had to do with menu. It had to do with uniforms. It had to do with hours, and it had to do with pay, and it had to do with everything, right? But we really looked at and prioritized it. And we told our teams, here's what we did. here's what we heard from your individual restaurants, and here's what we heard collectively. And these are the things that we're doing to move forward. And some of the things we just weren't able to do. And we were able to tell the team, look, we're going to push these things forward to another time. And that really set a standard for our teams that said, hey, we're listening. We're not just a group of people. And we had a home office. We branded it the Restaurant Sports Center. I know a lot of places use that, but I wanted to make sure that everyone in our Restaurant Sports Center understood that their job is to support the operations of the restaurants. That's it. That's what we do day in and day out. I think once we got that in place, it really helped to kind of catapult who we are. And I think the second piece is, and I don't know who did it, but I heard this commerce for all strategy. And it was kind of in place when I came into Stonefire, but it's how do we get our guests to be able to use us however they want to use us? If they want to use us online, if they want to use us on an app, if they want to walk through the doors and put their order in a kiosk, or if they want to walk up to the register and say hi and have someone say, welcome, like, what can I start with you today? So, wanted to make sure that our guests can use us in every way possible. And we're still evolving our tech stack to make sure that we can get it there. But, those were, that's kind of how I see this piece of hospitality within the business is getting your people. I started saying this, I took it out of Charles Schultz's book of We're Not in the Coffee Business, We're in the People Business. Many, many years ago, probably 15, 20 years ago, I rewrote a phrase and it says, we're not in the food business serving people, we're in the people business serving food. And it's just been something that I have lived by and made sure that I say it all the time and make sure that our people understand it because it is with the service, the hospitality, the food, the beverages, everything that we do. The fact is, it all has to be done through people.
Yeah, beautifully said. I think I'll have ChatGPT summarize that, put it in a document, and let you publish that because I think that was very well done. Welcome to the TED Talk, David Youngberg presenting. The two things you said there that I'm going to amplify, and it may be a summary, but I think it's worth repeating. It's very important. It's part of a thesis that I subscribe to. You and I, before we started recording, realized there's a lot of things we have in common except for the hairdo. We speak loudly, eat fast, and we believe in people first. One thing you said I want to really make clear to the audience, especially those that are struggling with something or trying to come in as a new leader or building their own new brand, is that transparency. So stakeholder involvement. There's nothing you're going to come up with that's going to be better than crowdsourcing, right? No grand idea you have that you're going to sit there and pencil out an entire idea that you're not going to get outside perspective and help to make it better. If you just create an idea and you implement an initiative or a project or a campaign or a process, you're going to get pushback. And it's mostly not because it wasn't a good idea. It's because they weren't involved. They weren't considered. Their voices were not heard. So the easier path, although it may seem like it takes longer and it takes more work and more thought and effort, is to include every stakeholder. And I include the customers, right? So sit down the managers, sit down the line level staff, get everybody involved. If this is going to affect them, they need to be involved. And ultimately, it is going to affect the customer. So I think a focus group of customers is an important element as well. Harder to do, takes more time. You got to play that a certain way. But stakeholder involvement, outside perspective, like you said, collect the data, collect the insights, get the opinions, get some. And look, people will raise their hand. You'll see who's enthusiastic about certain ideas. Invite them in. Okay, hey, you know what? I can't have every employee on the task force or on the committee, but you know what? You seemed really interested or really passionate. Or you had a lot of thoughts around that idea. We'd love to have you join us in call it what you want. I would call it a task force or a working group. And we want you to sort of be the voice for folks like yourself within the organization. And that way, as we make these decisions or we consider these tools or we look at these technologies along the way, we have a voice in the room that can bring that perspective. And so whether that's a customer and an employee, line level employee and a manager and whoever those folks are, I don't think any of us do it enough. I'll admit I don't do it perfectly. I don't do it all the time. We don't stop to take the time to do that. But my God, when you do, when it rolls out, they get to say, I had something to do with that. We were represented. Our voice was heard. And on the flip side, the most important one is what you said, when you don't do it or you can't do it, or that's not something of a priority or an opportunity right now that you can take advantage of, being transparent that their voice was heard, they were considered and thought about, and that, wow, you guys came up with so many great ideas. We can't do all of them in 2025. We got to think about how that comes later. We got to get some more important things dealt with, or some foundation laid before we can stack on top that great idea. But being transparent that it may not be a no, but it's a not now. And I think those are things it's easy to do in a store. It's easy to do in a business inside of, but to do it organizational wide, especially from the top, I think is a challenge. It's a challenge for us to all remember and implement.
100%. We also put into place, we wanted everybody's ideas, and we wanted, not just, hey, we did these meetings. This year we did the meetings a little differently. We brought in team members, like a select group, to the restaurant support center, and then had them kind of gather all the information from everybody and come in, which was really cool. But the thing we put in place last year was we created an email address for our team members, Fresh Ideas, and it's an email address that anybody can use and send us ideas. So if they have an idea about a food item, if they have an idea about a change in service, if they have an idea about anything that they think we should know about, they send it in. And then once a month, we pick the best idea and we reward that team member with a gift card. But it's great because, to your point, it's brought our team members and our managers. We even get fresh ideas from home office, like RSC personnel that'll say, hey, maybe we should do it this way. But we get ideas from accounting practices all the way down to, how clean our windows should be, or what should be on the patios outside, or new food items or ideas. And so that has been really cool to have something like that, where the team members can just, if they come up with an idea, they can just email it to us and we recognize it. We immediately respond and say, we got it. We're going to add it to the list and we'll let you know. And we always let people know whether or not, hey, we're going to move forward with this. Thank you so much. You're going to be tagged in with having that idea, or we're not going to do that right now. We're going to put this on hold, but we will come back and listen to it later. But it's really allowed our team members and our people to understand that their voices are always heard.
I love the digital suggestion box. And the most important thing about what you just said is it actually gives you easy replyability. Like, if they put a piece of paper in a box and they don't put their name on it, then the opportunity to acknowledge them is lost, or, they're afraid to send it in because they're not anonymous or something like that. But I think if it's acknowledged and recognized, then they gain confidence, right? They're like, oh, wow. Oh, okay. So yeah, the CEO wrote me back. That's crazy. Like, who does that? I love that idea.
It started with one email, and then when we got the first one and acknowledged it, then all of a sudden there was a couple more, and then a couple more, and then a couple more. And now, we have people that are actually managing the number of ideas that are coming in.
I love that suggestion box. Be careful. You almost gave the address away. All the listeners might start sending in. If I could put mine in right now, is that banana pudding is always available. That's all I can. Everybody's got peach cobbler and cobbler this cobbler. I need banana pudding available at all times.
Well, we have carrot cake.
I know. Great carrot cake.
Ever,
I know.
so yeah.
Let's have some seasonal banana pudding. Okay. All right. You've now received my. I'll await your reply.
I will tell you, I'm headed to create this week. I don't know,
will
are you
see you in
gonna be out there?
Nashville. I'm there tomorrow.
Really? But I always think about Big Bob Gibson's in Huntsville, Alabama, and banana pudding, like grabbing a thing of banana pudding or their pecan pie as you're kind of
I
getting the
literally
food.
will go around Nashville only eating banana pudding, just so you know. Like, we'll go to dinner and be like, oh, you can have this great steak and this nice wine. And I'll be like, cool. Do you have banana pudding? I'm having that. Thank you.
Let me know.
Because
I'm
you
happy
can't
to
get
pack
it. You
up.
can't get it everywhere, right? It's like sweet tea. It's like I have to go to Chick-fil-A and Raising Cane's the only place I could really get sweet tea if you're not from Texas to the east. So anyway, gotta get it. We've talked a lot about employees, David. Let's switch to customers for a second. What are your thoughts on creating raving fans or fanatical customers within your brand?
Well, first off, you got to do it right. I think, we have worked to build our loyalty base, and, we've done some promotions over the last year where we've added 150,000 people to our loyalty base, which has been fantastic. We've learned some things along the way, some things that were good, some things that were not so good, but nevertheless, it's trial and error and trying to get more guests in the building. We've also partnered with Ovation. We ran a trial with Ovation, and we're rolling it out system wide. I think their process, the ability, I still remember the first weekend it started, and I was getting, I get all the texts, and drives my wife crazy. We're sitting on the couch at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, and my phone is like bing, bing, bing,
Yeah,
bing, and
turn
she's
those
like, "What is
notifications
going
off,
on?" I'm
David.
like, "There's this whole new guest platform that we have, like, and I just want to see everything." But literally, a guest commented in and said, "Hey, you missed this on my order." Within 2 minutes, the manager responded and said, "I'm so sorry. I can either have it ready for you if you want to pick it up, or I can have one of our delivery vans take it to you." And it was actually Valencia was the restaurant we were testing it in, and the guest lived like a mile and a half away, and the manager actually sent the person in the delivery van to go deliver it to him. But it's things like that that all of a sudden the guests recognize. Like I've seen comments where the guests have said, "Oh my God, I can't believe that you responded within 10 minutes or 15 minutes." And our ability to fix guest issues immediately had just been paramount.
We're big friends of Ovation over here as well. First 30 days we turned it on at Pepper Lunch, we got more total reviews and we got 25-star reviews in one store. More total reviews in one store than the entire chain in a year, in a month. So 30 days of reviews outpaced the entire previous years. And we got 25-star reviews in one store in 1 month. It was insane. Yeah. Great feedback loop. Yeah.
But that's the thing. You want to the hospitality piece is connecting with your guests, and I think we've added menu items based on guest comments. We have tweaked some of our menu. We've made sure that we have things available. We started with lunch specials, and the guests had said, "Wow, if we had those to go," and it's like, why don't we have them to go? Well, let's get them to go. So it's listening to the guest and really looking at their perspective. But I think we have a little bit of a hybrid environment here at Stonefire because we're fast casual. 65% of our food goes out the front door. So we're only 35% on premise. But nevertheless, you've seen them. They're bigger restaurants. There's like lots of places to sit, and we do cater a lot of events in house. A lot of big families will come in. So the other hospitality piece is being able to have our team members in the dining rooms active, not only just dropping food off. So we will deliver the food to you. You grab your plates and your soda and so forth, but we'll bring your food to you. We'll also clear the plates. We also, when we switched over our point of sale this last year to Toast, we have handheld. So the great part is having a team member with a handheld that goes and clears some plates. And again, it's fast casual. So if they haven't ordered that piece of carrot cake or that piece of cheesecake or
That's what I
our
was
brand new
waiting for you to say.
it's like, "Hey, can I get you another beer? Can I grab you a slice of cheesecake or a slice of our famous carrot cake?" And so those have been really great pieces to kind of amplify the guests' thought of, well, this isn't just the fast casual place. I go pick up my food and I sit down and that's it. I'm all on my own after that. So it's really putting little touch points into the hospitality piece to really take care of our guests.
All right, you and I are going to have a side conversation about Toast handheld in the dining room upsells. I want to hear numbers. I want to hear how you're incentivizing those staff members to go get those added sales in the dining room because I think that's absolutely amazing. And at Pepper Lunch, we just added dessert. And I'm the same way. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be so full at the end of this meal that I'm going to want dessert, or maybe I was, all right, I took care of myself. I'm full, but I'm feeling some sweets. And oh man, I gotta go get in line and stand at the kiosk or order the. I'm not gonna do that. And it's just easier not to, right? And it's an excuse not to. Somebody comes up and goes, "Oh, let me clear some plates. And how was your meal? And can I get you anything else? And have you guys ever had our famous carrot cake? Yeah, I love your carrot cake. Well, I can just bring it in for you. Tap your card right here. So I love the idea. Might have to steal some ideas there around that. We'll talk offline at
Happy to talk about it.
yeah. That's awesome, man. That's cool stuff. When you talk people first, we've talked a lot about employees. Now we've talked about guests. How do you train that mindset? How do you get people to think about, I'll just say hospitality over service, right? Empowerment over managed tasks. How do you change or invoke this mindset throughout a system? And by the way, don't discount the fact that you have 13 stores. Your 13 stores do the volume equivalent of probably 35 or 40 stores, maybe 50 stores in some systems. So you're managing serious volume over there. But talk a little bit about it. How do you get that people first mindset to resonate and seep in and beyond be seated but grow within the entire organization?
First, it starts at the top, right? I have to live it. I have to be people first in how I talk to my team members, on how I engage our line cooks or our dishwashers or our, our hosts. It's in everything that we do. And it's setting that from the top down to make sure that, you take that inverted triangle, right? With the CEO at the top and the team members at the bottom, and you got to flip it upside down. And every chance I get when I'm in a restaurant, I'm always telling team members, because they say, "Oh, you're the CEO." I'm like, "No, no, no, no. You are the most important person in this restaurant. I'm insignificant. You deal with our guests each and every day." So it's making sure that they understand that. It's making sure that our managers, I think that the most important role in the company is that of a general manager. They're the ones, you know, taking care and kind of crafting and cultivating those 100 team members or 50 to 100 team members. But the most important person is the person who's standing in front of you saying, "Hi, I'm happy to serve. Can I get you a piece of cheesecake? Can I get you a piece of carrot cake? Try our tri-tip today," whatever, hitting our steps of service and making sure that they're engaging with the guest. And that, I think, is it has to start of pushing that. But then it becomes all those pieces of showing our team members by putting systems in place and things that will help them, whether it's a scheduling platform, whether it's, freshening up the attire, making sure that they have, that we have incentives that, like you said, like incentivizing our team. I mean, little small gestures are incredible. It when the FAST Act kicked in, 24, right? I think it went in April of 24. We were all scared. We were really scared because we don't fall into that $20 an hour. But I started looking at some things, and it was, well, our team members are making over $20 an hour with the tip share. We have a very generous tip share. Our team members make a good amount of money. But we'd also spent 23 and into 2024 rewriting training, making sure that we were hiring, you're hiring 51 percenters, that we made sure that we had the right general managers. We went through and evaluated every single one, because again, that most important role of GMs. And then it was making sure that we had the systems in place, that we could show our teams that we cared about them, that we had good systems in place, and that they had a path to promotion, and that we'd work around school schedules. And we just wanted to make it a fun place to work. It's in our mission, vision, and values, is we have to have fun at work.
And did anybody leave you to go work at McDonald's for $21 an hour?
No,
No, they did
we
not.
didn't. No, it did
I
not.
knew the punchline was coming. Like, no.
Yeah, but that was the piece, right? Like, and we were so scared of losing people, but they didn't leave. And when we got out and talked to team members, the team members were said, "We like it here. You guys take good care of us. Like, it's a fun place to work." And we were like, "Yay!" But it's wonderful when things come to fruition like that. That you put these things in place, and we just didn't have the issue. So
Yeah, that's the real punchline, is that pay is a component, of course, but it is never the number one reason. And if anybody says to you that pay is the reason they're leaving you, you have failed on every other possible metric that they care about. What they're saying is, you don't care about me, so I'm going to try again somewhere else for more money. But if you care about me, that just really dilutes the importance of pay, or and to your point, and this came up throughout California. I was speaking a lot to the CRA, and I was a part of fighting against the FAST Act pretty aggressively. The answer is always point out what they're already making. Like, if you have kiosks and they're getting tips, or you have a tip share program, or you're doing an entire front and back of the house, tip share, service charge sharing program, whatever your system was, I bet they don't know what they're actually making, because that's just the truth. And so you have to show them, look, when you add all this in, you're actually already making $23 an hour. So, are you happy? Am I doing good? Are we taking care of you? All those good things. And you're right. People want to be treated like they matter and that they're important, and they need to understand what their role and success is. And if they do, pay is a small component, or becomes a less significant.
100%.
For sure. David, for those that are not in California, or those in California who have not found one of the 13 Stonefire grills, but should and easily could if they just mapped it, tell us what Stonefire Grill is, what it serves, and tell us a little bit about the business to encourage folks to come try it.
Oh, thanks. Stonefire Grill is again, 25-year-old fast casual brand here in Southern California. We call ourselves premium fast casual because we have that little, additional element to service and hospitality. We serve fresh ingredients. We are scratch made. 90+% of what we make in-house every single day. And that is our dressings, our sauces. Our tri-tip is cooked overnight. Our pork ribs are cooked overnight. We've got amazing breadsticks. Everything is wood fired. So we do have wood-fired ovens, mesquite that we cook on, and we've got a pretty diverse menu. You know, we've got appetizers. We're pretty much protein centric, and we're leaning into that protein side, right? The everybody's hot on protein macros right now, and so when you look at
You
the
have a lot
fact
of
that
salad and greens too. You have a lot of
we
vegetables.
do. We have some wonderful salads. We added fresh vegetables that we grill, to order. So and again, we've got some of the most amazing desserts. We've got a homemade carrot cake that I will put up against any carrot cake. I have ordered probably 50 of them off of Gold Belly because I just am looking to find the right one. And we've been pushed to try to get our carrot cake on Gold Belly, but we haven't been able to get it to where we can freeze it properly. And we've frozen it and shipped it to somebody, and if they're like, "Oh, it's not really the best." Okay, well, we can't do it until we can get it right. I put our carrot cake up against anybody's carrot cake, and we have only the only thing we've rolled out differently was adding our cheesecake back, and then we're just getting ready on a new menu rollout. We have taken our breadsticks and we're tossing them in a cream cheese frosting, putting cinnamon on top of them, and then having a dipping sauce. So we're calling them sit dunks. And that's going to be our, and to find out that our team members have been doing this for years,
Oh,
but no one actually
I love
said,
it.
you should add this as a dessert
Dude,
until
it's where every great idea comes from is somebody who's in the kitchen bored of the same food they've been eating for 10 years, and they started making new things with your existing ingredients. Your entire development innovation map is right there for you. I love that.
but we can, we're gathered. We want people to gather. It's family dining, so we have lots of packages, very affordable, fresh ingredients, and we can feed 2, 4, 10, 12, 25. We can bring it to your home. You can have it in house. We've got an amazing. We just got an amazing recipe for I'd say recipe for goodness, but that's our philanthropy arm that we're trying to get involved in our community as much as we can, and that's kind of who we are.
It's a great story. David, thank you so much for coming on the Pineapple Perspective. It's been a really fun conversation. I know that our audience will definitely be able to take some nuggets and take it away, and hopefully be inspired, because I think what you're doing is remarkable. And taking a 25-year-old brand and bringing a lot of fresh life and energy to it, I think is a real recipe for the future. So looking forward to watching your growth and learning more along the way. And I'll see you in Nashville at the Create conference this week, although this will post after that. Everybody can come back in the comments and ask us what we learned and what we got out of it and what we shared while we were there.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for listening to the Pineapple Perspective. If you loved today's episode, leave a review and a 5-star rating. I look forward to welcoming you back next time.